very excited that Mason Partak, who actually won the Junior Chopped event, which is no easy feat, and you can sit down for just a second. I'm going to give you a great introduction. So, Mason is 12 years old. He's in 7th grade. He's been baking since he was 2 years old. His mom, Kathy, used to be a professional baker, but now she still bakes, but not professionally. When he was in 3rd grade, he took a look at his school and decided that they needed a new kitchen. And he, all on his own, decided that he would raise money to rehab the kitchen. 18 months later, finally the school woke up to the fact that he was serious when he had $10,000 and he was on television shows. But 18 months later, he had over $26,000 and started being a Rotarian at that age, since he was putting service above self. He's recorded things on YouTube. He's a big believer in that children can cook and ought to cook and like to cook. It's creative. I asked him what he liked best about cooking, and it's exactly what I like too, is creativity. He's got one of his favorite YouTubes, which I think I'm going to look at. It's called "What the Heck Is This For?" So all of the different things that you use when you're cooking. Since 2010, he's been competing in recipes and in cooking, and got first cash prize for a recipe back in 2010. That was 6 years ago, and I think he's 12 now. So he's all over the web. He's on Google, he's on Facebook, he has his own website, he's on Facebook. Do you have a Twitter account? I knew you had a Twitter account. So, right. It's I'm so excited to introduce Mason and hear all about what it was like to be on Junior Chopped and what your plans are next. So thank you so much for coming. And also to his mom, Kathy.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Rotary, what would you call it? Rotary meeting, there you go. But as you know, my name is Mason Partak. I'm 12 years old, and I'm a Chopped Junior champion. Some of you may know me, some of you may not, but like Ann said over here, that I raised over $26,000 to help fundraise a kitchen for my school. And it went really well, and it went really awesome. We have a better kitchen now. We didn't fully repair it because there's asbestos concerns and stuff like that. But what we did get was a new area of the school, and we now have a science/cooking lab. So now kids can go in there and learn how to cook, and they can go home and do recipes at their house, and it's really, really cool and interesting. But what I really want to talk about tonight is about empowering kids and grandkids. Because I wouldn't have been able to do any of that project unless my mom, my beautiful mom, said yes to me. So here's kind of how the story went. I went to school one day and I ordered a hot lunch. And when I went into the kitchen to order my hot lunch, all I saw was the lunch lady taking boxes out of other boxes and heating them up and giving them to the kids. And as a chef, I'm like, nah, that's not right. That's not how I do here. That's not how we do. So I went home to my mom and I said, hey mom, so they are not actually making lunches at school. They are just heating up boxes and giving them to the kids. So she said, yeah, and what are we going to do about it? And I just said, well, why don't we raise money to get an actual kitchen in there? And what she said was, you know, it's really different than getting a home kitchen than it is to get an actual school kitchen. And I said, in kid form, I said, well, yeah, I know, we can still do it. And from there on out, she said, okay. And this is probably what I thought in my mind that she was going to say. She was thinking, I could ruin this kid's dreams, and he doesn't need to do this. Or I can make him the happiest kid in the world and take him to Disneyland and he could raise this money. But anyways, that's off topic. But I did end up raising $26,000 just because my mom said yes to me. And it's really skyrocketed from there. It was 3rd grade when I started and 5th grade when it ended. And now I am not at that school anymore. I am at E.B. Kane in 7th grade. But all the kids that are at that school now are learning how to cook, and hopefully one day I'll come in there and get to mentor them and be able to teach them some of the things I know. And speaking of empowering kids and grandkids, I am part of the Kids Advisory Board for Chop Chop Magazine. And if you don't know what Chop Chop Magazine is, it's all about kids cooking. And these kids cook because their parents say yes, and they teach them. And the kids learn how to use knives and equipment in the kitchen in a safe environment, and they learn how to cook well. And that's all done because the parents say yes to the kids and they teach them how to do it. And no matter what, no matter how small or how big the project is, no matter what, if you say yes to your kids or grandkids, they will do great things, and even just around the neighborhood, just simple things like maybe cleaning up, or something, a small community project, like a lot of things that you guys do, it's always good for empowerment, because no matter what problem, no matter what thing, you can always give kids empowerment, and they can do anything that adults can do, and that's really my message. And I would like to thank all of you guys so much for having me here, and it has just been really awesome. But the next thing that I want to talk about is Chop Junior. A lot of people don't know what goes on behind the stage and how everything works. First question that I always get, Mason, is the clock real and does it actually only go for 30 minutes? The answer to that is yes, the clock is real, and I'm not just saying that to keep the identity of Chopped secret. It is real, and it is very tough, very challenging, very nerve-wracking. The most nerve-wracking part, a lot of people ask me this too, is when they are about to move the dish up to see who gets chopped or not. And that's not even the most nerve-wracking part. They have this thing where Ted Allen grabs the dish just for an action shot and just holds it. And that's the most nerve-wracking thing because it's leading up to the real thing. But then a lot of people think that, oh, you just cook and then you go straight to the judging and then somebody gets chopped. There is a lot of time in between. There has to be at least 2 hours in between of each one. The first thing that we do once we get done with the round is we go to sequester, and then we get called back into another little filming area, and then we film for a second, talk about the round, but the tricky thing is we have to talk about it in present tense because they play the clips while you're cooking. So that's the trickiest thing, and that's probably the hardest thing about the whole filming process. There are cameras following you pretty much everywhere, even in sequester, which is the room where all the kids wait to either get called out or do like the biohacks or the things where it's in between episodes talking in present tense. That's really nerve-wracking because sometimes they'll ask you to talk about who's going home, who do you think's going home, and by that time you've already met everybody and you've become such good friends that it's like you don't want to talk about it because then if you say it, you kind of like, I don't really want to say that. We've already become such good friends, even though you're thinking who's going home in your head. Okay, it's just in. I have to tell you guys how it works. So has anybody seen the show Chopped? Raise your hands. Pretty good amount of people. Pretty good. Thank you. But if you don't know how Chopped works, is there are 3 rounds: appetizer, entree, and dessert. In the adult one, you have 20 minutes in the first round to cook an appetizer, 30 minutes in the next round, and 30 minutes in the next round. But in the kids one, they add an extra 10 minutes for the appetizer round, so it's 30, 30, 30. And it's very, very tough and nerve-wracking, but you have 4 ingredients in each basket for each round, and you have to cook something with using all 4 of those ingredients. And honestly, it wasn't that hard once I thought what can go well with this, because I have to do a little bit of self-bragging right here. I have a great palate, and I know what goes well together. So it was honestly pretty easy. But yes, question?
I just want you to tell them what was in your baskets.
Okay, so
things don't go together. Like
The-
all things that don't go together.
the first round was, I'll start out with the craziest thing. Squid jerky, so beef jerky, but with squid instead of beef. Tabasco jelly beans, coconut milk, and mussels. And with that, I made a boiled white wine clam and mussel stew. For my second round, I had green strawberries, which are unripened strawberries, squash blossoms, blossom of squash, Wagyu skirt steak, which is just a very rich and different, very delicious form of meat. And then the last thing was cereal and milk. What I did is I made a street taco out of the Wagyu skirt steak. I stuffed the Wagyu skirt steak in the squash blossoms, and then I fried them. And then I put it into a street taco, and I made a sweet and spicy salsa with some homemade tortilla chips. The judges said that was the best dish out of the whole day that we filmed. So, and actually, if you go to Auburn, at Max's, you can actually get that same street taco, and it is super good, so I definitely advise you to go get it. And my last dish, everybody's jaw drops when they hear this. It was my worst dish out of all of them. So just be prepared. It was a blood orange crepe stuffed with a
Spicy chocolate.
no, not spicy, not spicy.
You added nothing.
It's a spiced chocolate rum cake with a cookie coffee creme anglaise. So it was supposed to be an ice cream, but I put my cream in at the last 4 minutes, so it didn't end up setting and it melted. But the good thing is they can't really judge it on if it melted or if it's cold, because sometimes it has to sit out for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, because they have to take pictures of it and just stuff like that. But I called it a creme anglaise because the ice cream melted. So I had a producer off to the side. Honestly, I didn't know what a creme anglaise until she explained it to me after. I had a producer off to the side. Just call it a creme anglaise. It was pretty funny. But the good news is once I got to the dessert round, they judge it on all of them. So my competitor definitely beat me in the dessert round. They just made a way better dessert than me. But they judge it on all rounds in the last round, and overall, I came out as the winner, and that's how I won chocolate. But anyways, thank you again so much for having me here.
You do questions? Will you take questions?
Yeah. But yes.
So what's your specialty dish, your favorite one?
My specialty dish.
I know.
My specialty dish is fried chicken, but I love to make sushi just because of how challenging it is and how each time I do it, I get better and better. Yes?
So I have a question I've always wanted to ask. When I watch one of these cooking contest shows,
Yeah.
everything's always really clean all the time. So are you participants incredibly neat cooks? I mean, when I cook, food goes everywhere. Or do they have cleaning people that scurry around off camera that clean up after you constantly?
Okay, that's a two-part question. I am not a neat chef whatsoever. I cook dirty. That's how I cook. That's my style. I cook dirty. You know how some teams play dirty? I cook dirty. But they do have cleaning crews that will come out after the round's done, and they will clean everything up, mainly because, first of all, they have health hazard rules that they have to follow, so they have to make sure everything's clean. No cross-contamination, no matter what. But besides that, yeah, they do have people that come out and clean it.
But not while you're actually cooking.
Not while we're cooking. We have to keep our spaces clean, but I do.
Who cleans up for you at home?
I'm sorry, I have to tell the truth. Yes?
Mason, I am a fundraiser. I commend you for raising $26,000 for our school kitchen. Tell me how you did it.
Okay, so there were a lot of things that I did to raise the money. The main things that we did to raise the money were we did Celebrity Chef Challenge. If you don't know what that is, we take home cooks, people in our community that own restaurants, and just people kind of from all around, and they come in and they all cook it. It's kind of like a big potluck. We got the grant for that, so we had to set up the decorations, but whatever money they earned, did we get half of it?
We got it.
Oh, we got,
$5,000 was the grant and then $2,000 for the raffle stuff.
so $5,000.
They can't hear.
So $5,000 for the grant and $2,000 for the raffle that we sold. And then we also did the gates and the cooking stage at the Mandarin Festival. My mom also slaved away, which I am so thankful for her doing this, but she slaved away at the stove making jams and marmalades to sell at the Mandarin Festival. They are so delicious, so good. I love them. My favorite one by far would have to be the Mandarin pepper jelly. It's really good. It's really good.
I'll look at those.
Do we have any left?
You know what, when you're done, let me say something.
Okay.
I want to share something.
To be continued. But we raised money a lot of different ways. We did it by home show, Mandarin Festival, the fair, just a whole bunch of different fun ways. And we always love helping out our community in any way possible. Yes, question?
Did the judges interact with you? Did they give you good criticism about, and did they help you out, or did they just kind of judge and leave you alone? What encourage you?
So to the first part of the question, they did give us very good advice. For now and forever on, I will always take one of the judges' advice. But always salt your food properly. I oversalted one of my dishes, and it wasn't my brightest moment, but my dish still came out pretty good, but I just have to remember to season my food. But they did give us very good feedback. They gave us you only see about 2 minutes of feedback on the show. They gave us about 15 to 20 minutes of feedback. It was a lot. They edited it down a ton. Any more questions? Yes?
I've watched a lot of these cooking programs, and it always seemed to me that there was at least one judge that, to be very blunt, was a pain in the rear end, and never satisfied with anything anybody did.
So in Chop Junior, they are kind of strict because if you go to Chop Junior, you are one of the best kid chefs that they know. I was picked out of 550. Lots of kids. I don't know the exact number, but I was picked out of that in season 1, and there are some judges that are very strict because you get chosen because of how good your skills are. But in my episode, none of the judges were very mean. The meanest person, I would have to say, and he wasn't very mean at all, was Scott Conant. He was a very, very nice gentleman. But he gave us a lot of good feedback, not bad feedback, but helpful criticism. And I really am glad that he did that, because you never like to be told, oh no, you didn't do that right. You have to fix that like this, like this, like this. You like to be like to have somebody say, hey, well, you did an okay job, but you could do it better by doing this, and that's what he did, and that was probably the meanest judge. So, yes?
Where do you plan to go to college, and what are your career desires?
Okay, so where do I plan to go to college? I really want to go to UCLA, very, very badly. And my career choices would have to be either somebody on the Food Network or just an actor in general. Yes?
Okay, so the first thing you said was that as parents or grandparents, we need to say yes to our children working in
in total other ways. If your daughter or granddaughter loves to do ballet, say that she can do ballet and that she can be the greatest ballet artist there ever was and ever will be. Empower your kids in any way possible. If they like to sing, empower them that way. If they like to act, empower them that way. If they like to cook, empower them that way. Just let them have the skills and let them use all that they can to be as best as they can be. Yes?
What grade are you in right now?
I am in 7th grade. Yes?
Why don't you let these fine ladies and gentlemen know where they can catch you locally next? Doing some maybe demos or competitions.
So the next couple places that you can find me are at the home show, September 28th through the 1st.
29th through the 2nd.
29th through the 2nd. I was close. I was close. I'm still memorizing the dates. And in Auburn, that is the home show. And the Mandarin Festival, I have to memorize these dates. 18th, 19th, and 20th of November. So always the weekend before Thanksgiving. So definitely come check me out there. I will also be competing in the Mandarin Festival cooking contest. That will be super fun. So maybe you can compete against me. I have one more thing to say. And before I leave, I would like to congratulate Rachel Griffin over here for becoming honorary mayor of Fair Oaks.
Thank you.
But thank you all so much for letting me speak, and my mom would like to have something to say. And it's just been an awesome time. Thank you guys so much.
So, Mason's very first speech in the 3rd grade was speaking to one of the Auburn Rotary clubs. You know, in Auburn we have several clubs. And I made a practice. Was none too happy about that because he likes to just get up and wing it. However, he did practice, and on his YouTube channel and his website, you can see some of his videos and you can see that first speech. And he's not feeling 100% tonight, which is why he was a little all over the place and ready to sit down. But if you go to masonpartak.com, for his 1-year anniversary of winning Chopped, I posted some behind the scenes video. So you can actually see, we had, as parents, a big screen that was like a production screen with all the different camera shots. So I took the video and asked, you know, is this okay? And they said, yeah, just don't do anything with it until after his episode airs. So for the 1-year anniversary, I wrote my perspective. And I was frantically writing and journaling while he was competing. It was just the most intense day of my life. And anybody who's an emotional eater knows what you do when you're nervous. You eat. I didn't eat all day. Could not eat. Only time in my life ever I couldn't eat. But you can go there. It's a 19-minute video, but you can see in the appetizer round the 12 minutes of feedback that the judges give. So when you watch these shows and you think, oh, I don't think they should have won, just know there's a whole lot more that went into that decision versus just the, you know, the few minutes that you saw. So he's an incredible young man. He will probably do more great things in his life. His dad and I are incredibly proud. And thank you for having us.